Hello.
Right.
I just sent a message too.
Earlier.
Yes, but under. Yeah. I have been in the meeting, Thursday's meeting.
I had trouble understanding what you were saying. You've got a lot of bass on your sound, and not that you can do anything
Oh,
about it. Mm.
okay, one moment. I will use other headphones. Is this better now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit better. Yeah.
That
Okay.
is a bit better. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So you were here at the last meeting, and I wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I came there and was very confused. Like, am I in this meeting? And yes, I was.
Yeah. I was off at my grandson's wedding. Mm.
Yeah.
Hi, Vicky.
Hello. Sorry. I said I wasn't gonna come to Wednesday meetings, but I don't know, I couldn't sleep today, so I figured I might as well come, so yeah.
Right. So what time is it there where you are?
It's sorry, it's okay. You guys can't see whatever. It's 1 a.m.
Okay. Mm. And where are you, Anda?
In Mexico.
Mexico, right.
Yeah.
And what time
So
is it?
now it's 11 p.m.
Oh, okay, right. So you're both fairly keen then. So fill me in. What happened last meeting? I didn't get to watch it either. Did you
Mhm.
get anything out of it?
Yes, absolutely. Mostly the connection with other people who know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, not yet so much something where I was guided or so, but just this connection was so clear for me that I said, okay, I will come back.
Coming home. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Mhm.
Good. Good. So where are you up to on this journey?
I yeah, I went to the gate at LU like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
So
now I'm
yes.
adapting and I plunged right into emotion work. I think not a big honeymoon period or something like it was like, okay, now let's start to work now that I can see the mind from another perspective.
Yeah, good one. Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. The honeymoon period gets in the road really, and it always ends anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I had a phase where I thought, well, maybe this is honeymoon period. Uh, um, I forgot the word, but well, this could be honeymoon period, and then I stumbled upon something that I couldn't really dissolve. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, you'll have
it's
lots of them.
not there anymore.
I wouldn't really call them a honeymoon period, but they're more like moments that you that will
Yeah.
trigger that kind
Hmm.
of things for you. Yeah, sure. Yeah, moments of magic, I call them. You know, when you
Hmm.
just get blown away by appreciation for whatever it is you're interacting with. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And do you get it? Do you get that? Does it feel to you like you're not seeking anymore?
Mm, it's different. It's not seeking as it was before. Mm, in December, before I discovered LU, there was really crazy seeking. There was crazy seeking on YouTube for more and more pointers. And then I realized that I needed a more focused approach, and I started the Awakening curriculum. And this calmed down things already. And then I did LU in February. And now it's not this kind of seeking
Yeah.
anymore at all. It's more like a silence and stillness. But there is this emotion work and this other approach to
Yeah.
reactions that come, and and I want to proceed there. And
Yes.
so in
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
sense, there is still some,
Right. So
seeking,
I
but
would describe
very,
it as,
very different.
yes, we change from seeking into a journey of discovery. Just, it's like
That's
we
it.
just wait to see
Yeah,
what
that's
pops
it.
up and
Or
recognize
it's
that
like,
there's always more.
or it's like an image would be I was looking for a house, and now I found that house, and I go in there and I tidy up.
Yes, yes. Now you
Mhm,
you explore all the rooms, all the cupboards,
mhm,
all the nooks and crannies, and look for,
mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Do you have an idea that there is a finish point?
I don't think so.
Uh,
No.
Good. Yeah, I don't think so
Yeah,
either.
yeah. From all I have heard, I'm I've, there is no fantasy about a finishing point because everybody says it never finishes. You can always go deeper, and so
Right. Now, when
yeah.
that happens, it's important for you to appreciate that what other people say doesn't matter. It's secondhand
Mhm,
knowledge or
yeah,
information. Yeah. So it is the way
yeah.
it is for you, because everybody is different as well. So
Mhm,
it's kind of a crazy question to talk about finishing. If you haven't been triggered for a long time, keep waiting. It will happen or not.
mhm,
You don't know, but it
mhm,
doesn't matter. So if you're cliche words, if you're in the present, that's all that matters.
mhm,
And if you're not in the present, well, you are in the present, even if it seems like you're not. And so
mhm.
whatever is there is okay. Do you get do you get
Yeah.
that no longer is there good and bad?
Mm, not exactly, or to a certain degree. For example, my reactions to what other people do are very different now. They are like much more light. Like, it's, I don't know, it's different in this sense. But I noticed that when it comes to these emotional things I'm working with, that there is a category that is like bad, that there are
Yeah,
things that I can accept and others. Uh, I noticed that was the thing I stumbled upon yesterday. That it's like, okay, I cannot see this neutral yet.
yeah, okay. So the trap is to do what we've been very conditioned to do all our life, which is to say this is a better response than that one, or this is a worse response than that one. Comparison. Compare yourself with other people. Compare today with yesterday. Traps. Every time they're traps. And so when you go, this that is happening is this that is happening, and there's no comparison to something that you thought was better or worse. So if you compare it to something that you thought was worse, you'll say, oh, this is good. And if you compare it with something that you thought was good, you'll say, oh, this is worse or bad. See, comparison will get you into your head to compare. So when you look at what it actually is, not what you think it is, but what it actually is, it can't be anything other than this. And when it's this, there is no possible comparison. It is just what it is, and that's all, full stop. It just is. And now, so I want to say too, also, that, of course, these things happen automatically. So it's not like we have a choice to say they're not going to happen. So if it happens that there is a comparison to a memory comes up and you go, oh, this is not so good, then you realize that you've just done that, and then you can step out of that judgment, that opinion, and just remind yourself that this is just what it is. It's just this. And then you can look at it objectively. You're not looking at it through the filter of comparison.
Maybe it would be good if I said in a little bit more concrete way what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yes.
The thing is, I have been really surprised these last weeks how fast some things have dissolved. For example, when there is an emotion, I recognize, oh wow, this is not really about this situation here. It's something reacting in me, and I can sometimes even know where this comes from. So this comes from childhood, or this comes from adolescence. And then I do all this what Pernille also says, just be with the feeling and accept it and give this inner child love and compassion and all that. And this worked so surprisingly fast in the case of some things that, yeah, and yesterday it was different, and I know now why. I still have to answer a message from a friend with whom I wanted to organize a meeting with other people. And then there came this feeling up of social anxiety. And I recognize, I know this comes from adolescence. There is where it started. And I tried to be with this feeling exactly as with the other ones. I even, in a moment of inspiration, I wrote like a message to this inner adolescent, like that. Yeah, it was really positive message, but it didn't really dissolve. And then I noticed, I think it was today in the morning, I was expecting that this would go so fast as the other things. And I had the hidden agenda that it will be done today. And without this thing, I can then answer the message. And yeah,
Didn't happen.
It doesn't work like that. No, absolutely not. And then the thing is, when this doesn't work, I notice that I identify too much with like a me that's here now.
Yes.
This,
Yeah.
this talking to the little child can work so wonderfully well when it's without a contraction. But when there is a contraction, this has to be done now. Then I identify again too much and it gets stuck.
Okay, yeah. Can
Like,
you see the trap? Can you see what sucks you into that thing? So firstly, in the background there is an objective to fix something.
yes.
Straight away you're
Yeah.
seeking again. You're grasping
Yes,
for,
that was the
I
thing.
want to get hold of this. And it
Mm-hmm.
never works. The more you grasp for it, the quicker it runs away. So you're chasing it, and you're straight away you're lost, right? Of course, we want to fix these things, but we have to be very skillful about how that happens. And if we know that it never happens because we want it to, it will happen when all of the conditions that are required for it to be different, better, whatever, when they're all lined up, all of those conditions, it will happen. And we don't have control over those things. So straight away, if you surrender to what's happening without the prime motive to fix it, then you're on the
Mm-hmm.
right path,
Yeah.
right? It is always this, whatever happens. And of course, it's almost impossible not to judge it as something that requires fixing, because you see that, it's old stuff. It comes from the past,
Mm-hmm.
and it's maladaptive. It doesn't do you. It doesn't work for you. So you want it gone. But the way for it to be gone is not to want it to be gone, but rather to accept it as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Even
when
if
you
it
do
stays
that,
forever.
no. See, this is the thing. You think that, and it's the old way. You think that in order to fix it, you have to work at it.
Mm-hmm.
Working at it just chases it away. So so think back to Penilla again. What is happening is that the identification with the self, that's where the contraction comes from. That identification with the self is a protective mechanism, but it's not appropriate. It's protecting an illusion. And this is why when you start chasing it, of course, you're chasing an illusion. And so you're chasing it down a fictitious rabbit hole that's never going to get you any answers. So by relaxing and allowing it, accepting it without judgment, if that's possible, and if judgment happens, you'll recognize that you judge it, and so you don't judge the fact that you judge it. It just is what it is, and resting in it allows it to dissolve. Allows the recognition. See, when you see that something's come from your childhood, it's not because you see it's come from your childhood that fixes it. It's accepting
Mm-hmm.
that it's no longer appropriate, that it's a child's perspective that was ingrained.
Mm-hmm.
So when you simply see it for what it is, it dissolves. But the moment you
Mm-hmm.
try to fix it, it gets solid. It
Mm-hmm.
solidifies when you try and fix it. You make it stronger. What you resist persists. That's a good saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the trick is to try not to resist anything.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more question about that, how to deal with or work with these emotions. is it rather just when they arise, be with them in this moment and accept them in this moment, and even if this moment is just a few seconds or minutes, that's it, and the next time when they arise, same thing? Or is it good to like make a meditation session with them? Like, okay, now I no.
So then
Okay.
you're working with it again.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
it tells you stuff. So if it comes up and you see what it is, and you're relaxed, you surrender to it, and you just see it clearly. So your whole objective is to see it as clearly as possible. And the way to do that is look at the sensations in the body. Go for where that
Mm-hmm.
contraction is. Examine the contraction. Get really intimate with the sensations in the body. That's the way you'll see it, because that's when the stories about it are invited to show themselves as they drop off. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
really very much a case of allowing. So we invite the stories of what it's about to show themselves, but we can't make them. We can only invite them. And if they choose, they're just words. But if they choose to show
Mm-hmm.
themselves, then they will dissolve. Now, if they don't, and they come back, then they're telling you that there's something deeper. There's something underneath that to look at. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
at the level that you've seen. There's something under. There's a foundation underneath that.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you believe. They don't go chasing that, because again, you just make it more solid, and you're resisting it. So by
Yeah.
recognizing, though, that's because it's come back, there's something underneath it, allows, well, it invites you to see what's further down, what the next
Mm-hmm.
layer is underneath. So it's very much a case of always surrendering to, but willing surrender, not resignation, but surrendering to whatever shows up. Thank you, whatever it is that comes along,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Yeah.
that
I think that was
actually,
the
yes,
problem. I was it was like, okay, here's this. Let's catch it and let's work with it.
yes, yeah,
It
exactly,
doesn't
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And of course we're led into thinking that when some of the things that we see instantly dissolve because we see them, and because we go, oh, that worked, let's do it again, and let's go a bit
Mm-hmm.
further, and of course we get trapped. So
Yeah.
there's a sequence that goes on like that, but it always comes back to just this, just this, just this.
Mm-hmm.
And what Penula says, can you be in a body that's experiencing this? And of course,
Mm-hmm.
the answer is always yes. Of course you can. And so you don't have to resist it. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to push it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can trust that, silly words, but we can trust that life, or ourself, ourselves, or none of those are right words, but we can trust that things will work out if we don't resist, if we just
Mm-hmm.
accept whatever.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when something comes back, we thank it. Thank you for showing me. Thank you for
Mm-hmm.
being there. Yeah. But this is also all about changing habits as well, because we did change habits when you had that initial shift going through LU, and things were different. But then a lot of the old ones want to creep back in all the time. So it's a case of recognizing that when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so the
Yeah.
the prime thing that will take us away from this is our mind. We will think things, And it's always a diversion or a distraction from whatever's going on. If you're in the mind, you're running away.
Yep.
At this stage, that will change, but for the moment, that's good to recognise. Once thoughts start getting going and we start having fantasies about things, we're escaping.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. Yep.
How's that overactive mind of yours been going, Vicky?
Hi, Vince. So, it was like, it was going a lot during this, like, meeting, but yeah, just like a lot has happened. And, wait, are you guys done?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
don't want to.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So,
Go ahead.
okay, all right. So, yeah, so, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I'm trying to like not like my mind, like, it plans to say stuff, and then I'm just kind of just I'm kind of just like cutting that off now. So yeah, I'll just say whatever. So um yeah, so I think like after the Zoom session with like you last time, maybe like that night that I went to sleep, yeah, actually like I don't know if cause and effect is a real thing. It probably is, but anyway, so yeah, I think you helped me because I ended up sleeping in my own bed, and because I was like, because I was just like, so if there does come like, something to, horrendously murder both me and my mom, it would probably be worse for it to like murder my mom and then murder me, because then I'll see like, I'll see her, and then anyway, so I was just like, you know what, yeah, whatever, I'll just go to my room, and I'll sleep alone now. So so yeah, and then I think I woke up at like 1 a.m. and like I don't know, this like I felt something like really psychedelic, I guess, and um but what I kind of remember, but basically I kind of just imagined like there was just this whatever, like there was just this imagination that some wisp of something like came to rest right next to my face on like the right side, and it was a face, and so it was like a face next to like my face, and I was like scared. And usually when that happens, when something like that happens, I would be scared about that. But this time I was coming out of some kind of dream, and that was relevant to like spirituality. So I started thinking like, wait, Angelo, maybe this is what Angelo talks about when he says like you're literally like face to face with the unknown, and you're always face to face with it, and it's closer. I don't know, but he said like, and that's like intimacy or whatever. And so I was just like, maybe that's what this is. Like maybe it's just, maybe this face is just that. And then wow, and then after that I literally heard like freaking like Angelo's voice, like the freaking YouTuber. I heard him say in my mind, like you got it or something, like, or like I forgot what he said, but he said like, yeah, like that's it, you got it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I'm still like, what? Like, he literally just talked to me. And yeah, I don't know. I think like a bit afterwards I might have heard like Marius's voice a little bit too. So that was also weird. But I have like a tendency to be like solipsistic. So I ended up thinking like um yeah, I don't even know how to explain it, but it just feels like this is all there is. Like this room, because like if only direct experience is true, then my direct experience is just like always like a room or something, or just some environment. and and if I'm literally everybody and everything, like theoretically or something, then like I don't know. Then I don't even know. Like I don't even know how. Yeah, but yeah, I'm less solipsistic nowadays because I realize that reality is so unknown that you can't really like hold a ground in anything. But it's just like I don't know. But it's just like yeah, like um, what was I thinking? Like I was just thinking like oh like what if there's just like nobody out there? What if the world doesn't exist? There's nobody out there, and it's all just appearing to this body mind, and it's not like that matters either because like I am everybody anyway. So it's like so it's like self appearing to self. So I don't know, but whatever. I like to ask about like a clarification on that. Like, does this world? Because yeah, I just feel like it's off to it's off to always think that there's this earth going on. Like it's off to think that like earth exists, or like not that earth exists, but just like wow, this place is huge. This is a huge planet, you know, like and this planet consists of a lot of stuff, and it's just so off because it's just like this mental formation is in the back of my mind and it's uncomfortable. But when I'm just focused on like this, like it's like literally just this, and I'm not aware of any earth or anything. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
like it's weird. Like I feel like I might be like I don't think solipsism is right, but
How would you define solipsism? What do you mean by that? I know the word, but I don't really know what it means. What is solipsism?
solipsism like um okay, so I think they have like their definition and I have like and my definition is kind of different.
Now, what's your
Since
definition? I'm interested in.
okay, so wow, this is really complicated. Sorry. So basically, like, okay, so okay, yeah. At the moment, it's like I'm video chatting with you guys, but and like in a human perspective, like you guys are somewhere, somewhere out there, and living your lives, and then I'll see you guys again in a couple days, and then things will be a bit different, and yeah, so that's kind of how it is. But I guess like for me, it's just like I feel like Yeah, what if what's more real is just that you guys um like you guys are kind of just like appearances, but like it's not to say, but it's not like, because this everything is like not real, because like everything's not real. So like I'm just choosing, like, there is this story right now that, a Zoom meeting and that Zoom meeting and the life in between a Zoom meeting that you guys have. But I guess I'm just scared that like one day, I don't know, or like at some point, um everything goes, you know what I'm saying? Like like the whole world goes, like either it all turns to light, or I like I focus on just this so much that like I just go into a complete different system of reality for who knows how long, and I might come back, I might not, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm not sure if I explained that right, but
Yeah, I
like
kind of
I
get it.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, you touch on stuff that's absolutely relevant here, and the first thing that comes to mind is that there is what I would call the absolute, what things actually are, and they're unknown. I have no idea what they are. I'm human, and I don't have the faculties to see what the absolute actually is. So for me, the only thing that is real, I prefer the word actual, is my experiencing. And even that is not absolute, because it's an interpretation, a specific interpretation from the perspective of this organism who's been conditioned uniquely, not like anybody else in the world. However many billion people there are, everybody is absolutely unique. So the only thing that is actual is what I experience. And even that is an interpretation. So there's no ultimate reality in that. There is only a subjective reality, nothing but that. So you're right, we are, for you, just your perception. You can say that, well, all we are dots on the screen, and that whether I actually exist over here in Australia or whether I'm an artificial intelligent bot that's been programmed to be saying this, you don't know that, and it doesn't matter. It's your experience of this that is real for you, nothing else. Now, I said to Anda that all thoughts are about distraction. But in your case, there's something different there, and that is that the way that you experience some of your thoughts has a sensory response that makes it sound real. You really did hear Angelo's voice, even though it started from and finished in your brain, right? If I had a tape recorder going next to you, it would not have picked up anything. But when you heard it, it excited that part of your brain that is your auditory senses. So for you, it was like my tinnitus in my ears that's there when I think about it. Nobody else can hear it because it's not actually in my ear, it's in my brain, right? But it's a real sound that nobody else can hear. Well, your Angelo's voice for you was like that, right? It was a real sound that you experienced, even though it came from your thoughts. So things are a little bit different for you than for others. But you can see how that mind is so active that you had this whole movie go on about whether your mother gets murdered before you and you have to witness it, and then you get murdered afterwards, and then you what a whole movie goes on, and you have that experience, right? And what makes it real for you is the sense of fear that you experience when you're having that movie, right? So they're real feelings. They're absolutely real contractions in the body that are going on for you. Right? So it's a bit tricky to say to you, the only thing that is actual is your experience, when those things are part of your experience, and re- they're not real in the sense that they're not out there, but they are real in the sense that they're in there, in you. You're experiencing them. So that's something that you need to, you are somewhat different to most people in that way. You're very I don't know how to put it. What I don't know the right term for it. You're multi-sensory, maybe somehow. You have people that can hear colours and see sounds and so on, and that seems to be part of what happens for you in your own way. And so it's something that you're very sensitive to those things. So it's a bit tricky for you to appreciate, but you do know. I think you do know that you didn't actually hear Angelo's voice from him. You heard it from you. So you knew that, didn't you? You could see that that was something that your mind generated, that voice saying what it said. Did you get that?
Um, when that happened, I think it was just like, um, sorry, I'm trying to connect this with something that happened before that kind of reminded me of this, but I guess like for me, like what that meant was just like um the essence of Angelo is
Yes.
always with me, just like the essence of you, the essence of the other. Sorry, I don't have it, but Anda, blank, Bianca, just but because you guys are just forms, right? Like I'm just a form, but yeah, but right now, but anyway, like,
Yeah.
but I mean, like what I
But that
really am, you know what I'm
essence
saying? But
is
yeah,
connection, isn't it? That essence is that things that it's relevant for you. And so there's a connection. That's what you mean by essence. It's like, yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's just like when YouTube shows me, because like I read in a book that like Jesus told somebody that like God always gives you teachings when you're ready for them. Like God is, you're always like kind of, let's just say like leveling up, I guess. But he always gives you like the appropriate teachings when you're ready for them. And so it's just like I don't really feel like it's like someone on YouTube that I just stumbled upon, for example. It's just like it's like the universe
It
is
seems more
communicating.
meaningful. Yes, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
I,
you're the
I use
universe, right? Yeah,
I use the word
yeah,
serendipity. It seems like when you're ready, things turn up. Yeah, sure. I get that. And there's good explanations for that, but they're not really that important. So the thing is that you notice things in a different way. You notice what you need to notice, and you don't notice what's irrelevant. So that's why it seems like things turn up for you, but they do. They do turn up. You do. That's right. Exactly. So the message I want to get through to you at the moment is that what what the ultimate reality is none of your business. You don't have the faculties to even see it as it really is. You've just got human faculties, and so that's always going to interpret things according to a human perspective. Whereas if you were a dragonfly, you would see things entirely differently. Or if you were a frog or a dog, you would see things entirely differently. But you see things as a human sees things. And you're a little bit different to a lot of humans in that you have these experiences where you actually hear voices when they're relevant. And that may even go as far as seeing things. But those things come from your brain. And that's the way it is for you. So the absolute, what a tree really is, what another person really is, we don't know. We've got no idea. And we're not that interested in it. We're just interested in what is our perspective in life. And if we limit ourselves to that, not by hard work or anything, but just by accepting that the other stuff is of no real interest to us because we can't know what it's about. We can't know the ultimate reality. We can't know what's really there or what's not really there. Are other people there? Is the earth really there? Who knows? It's not there for me at the moment. For me at the moment, what's here is the screen in front of me and my immediate environment, and that's all. I have no idea what's outside on the road or what's up the street or what's over in America or anywhere else. No idea at all. I can only have stories about that. So I'm not particularly interested from this perspective. And when you do that, things will slow down a bit for you. There'll be more space for you to move in. Yeah. But you've got a lifetime of habit of you've spent a lot of time in your mind, I imagine. You've built a whole world in there. And you don't need it now the same way that you used to. And you'll get to the point where you don't need it at all because what is in your physical environment will be what interests you, not what's in your mind. It's not to
Yeah,
say
so
that it
about
will
that,
become uninteresting, but yeah, go on.
I'm kind of like I'm confused about this right now because I'm definitely confused about this. So, I was doing self-inquiry. I was asking like, who am I? Like this was pretty early on, and literally the first thing that I reasoned is that like I'm not the body, and and then like I realized like, well, I really think I'm the mind. But then it's like, so when people say like, or when everybody says like you're not, you know, stop, don't identify with your thoughts, and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But when people say like tune into your sensations and feelings and stuff, like in energetically, I get it. Like I guess like it's like an energetic thing, but at the same time, like I kind of don't get it because isn't that also the body and I'm not the body? So shouldn't I ignore that too? So yeah, I'm kind of confused because,
Okay. So do you think you
yeah.
are something?
Sorry, what did you say?
Do you think that you are something? You're not the body, you're not the mind,
Um,
but you're something else?
um, I think like anatta is like you're literally nothing.
Yeah, but this
And
is secondhand
yeah,
information that you're generating here. From your experience, you've examined that organism and decided that you're not the body. And then you've thought, well, no, it must be the mind. And you've looked at that and you've said, no, I'm not the mind either. So what does that leave you? Now, it's a trick question because the assumption is that you are something. Now, I can agree with that. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. What I'm saying is you can't know what it is that you ultimately are. The ultimate reality of who or what you are is unknowable to us. And it's of no interest. If you want to be something, how about this? This is something that you are, but you can't identify with. Or maybe you can. Anyway, you are your current experiencing. Now, it's wrong to say you are that. Let me reframe that and say all there is your current experiencing. And you can't bottle that, can you? If we put you on the operating table, no surgeon is going to find your current experiencing. It doesn't exist as a thing, but it is there, isn't it? Your current experiencing. You're currently experiencing feelings and thoughts. Now, what you're thinking about, the content of your thought, that's not part of your experience. But what if you have the content of a thought and you react to that, that then is part of your experiencing. But that's all there is. Nothing else is real for you except what you are experiencing. And if we look at what you are experiencing, the most tangible aspect of your experience is what you feel or what's coming in through the senses. And you can, and this is a bit tricky, you can experience the fact of having a thought, but you can't experience the content of your thought. You can only experience a reaction to that content, because that content is a story. And some stories you'll react to in a different way, and others you'll hardly react to at all, and some you won't react at any way. But you can experience the fact that you're having a thought, but it's a waste of time. Why bother? But what you experience in the body, that's the biggest thing, isn't it? And that's pleasant or unpleasant or neutral or variations of them. And that's where your attention is most valuable for you, in what is it you're experiencing. And accepting whatever you're experiencing is the next step. Surrendering to it happily, willingly, invitingly, surrendering to whatever it is you're experiencing. And when that happens, there's no suffering. We don't call it pleasant or unpleasant. It just is what it is. And that's what waking up is about.
yeah, like I think it's kind of confusing a little bit for me right now because I have this like deep intuition, or like not deep intuition, but like I have this intuition because this came to me in like a dream, and also when I watched a video on this, I got like a big transmission energetically, but like I'm pretty sure like I don't exist or something. So I feel
How are you going to know
like
whether
does
you
that
exist or
yeah.
not? Why is it? Where's it relevant? What's it relevant to? Right. So if you don't exist, maybe you don't. Maybe you're just a simulation in some alien's computer game. Who knows? We've got no idea what you actually are. What does it matter? Why waste our time even thinking about it? You don't know what you are. Maybe you do exist, maybe you don't. What's existence? Is there such a thing as existence? From your perspective, there is only your perception. If you want to imagine that it's an ultimate existence, that's imagination. We don't know. So maybe you don't exist. That might be right, but that doesn't mean anything. Does existence, does the fact that you think about existence mean that you do exist? Who knows? But you don't exist as a self. It just seems like you do. It's an illusion. Or if you believe it, it's a delusion. But there's no good me just telling you that. You've got to discover that for yourself. So second-hand knowledge is dangerous. Listening to what other people say is dangerous in terms of corrupting your actual experience. So as soon as you hear somebody say, maybe we don't exist, and you start thinking about that, you're off in fantasy land, thinking about it. And I mean, you're sitting on a hot coal and it's burning a hole in your bum, and you don't even know it because you're thinking about this other thing. The reality is what you're experiencing. Now, thinking about those things can get us high. We can have a reaction to those thoughts and we can get quite high on them. You know, isn't it intriguing? You know, we have this amazing thought. Oh, well, maybe I don't really exist. Maybe nobody exists. Ooh, 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 that can really get something going in the body, can't it? You can have this feeling of awe about it. Oh, wow, isn't that? It's possible, isn't it? Oh, you can get all sorts of feelings from the content of that story, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not any different to watching a movie on Netflix. It's a tricky one. I saw a debate between Elon Musk and Keanu Reeves last night. My wife was watching it when I went out there, and Elon Musk is saying, you actors are going to be all out of a job because AI will do a better job, a lot cheaper. You know, in 24 hours, I can produce a movie that takes you 2 years to do in real life. And so everybody will be into that. And Keanu Reeves said, it's the connection with people that's important. I think they're both right in a way, but nevertheless, it's interesting, isn't it? We can certainly be entertained by watching movies, but it's missing something that we get here in a group like this when we can talk to each other in an authentic and spontaneous way. There's a connection that is very real, that has a real big effect that you can't get from watching a movie. You know, it's that he called it the human thing. That was the important part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, I guess, like, yeah, for me, it's just like, um, I feel like that I don't exist probably does mean like the Vicky doesn't really exist, you know? Um, yeah, I'm guessing that's probably what it means, but I feel like at the end of the day, even after like consciousness goes away, I feel like probably like love is still gonna be there at a deeper level because it's just like weird because yeah, sometimes I think like would I ever okay like would I let go of like love? Like it's just like if you can let go of everything, would you let go of that? Like isn't that what you like don't you let go of everything else for that? But anyway, whatever. But yeah, I just feel like there's probably still something after everything goes away, but maybe we just don't get. I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, but more relevant is like the a more relevant question I have is just like um yeah. So today like today was nice. I did some chores this morning, and I kind of yeah, and yesterday was also kind of nice, but yeah, I just kind of like tapped into like that kind of like like love, like simple, quiet, slow, kind of like very like moving, touching, like love frequency. That was like yesterday, but today I was kind of just sitting in the kitchen and everything kind of and I kind of just like felt like I was in heaven a little bit for like a couple minutes, and then so that happened, and then but then afterwards it was just like when I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to um dissolve the self now or something, or just get my
Why
get
would
my
you get
free
out of heaven to do something like that? You're in heaven
get
and then
my
you decide to get out of heaven and do that dissolving self thing. Yeah?
yeah, like yeah. No, it was like I got I naturally kind of it stops, I guess, but so then I started doing like who am I again. And actually it's kind of it's this is probably kind of funny to talk about, but anyway, can I talk about this? I'm pretty much done. Like after I talk about these two stuff, I think I'm gonna be done. Um, but yeah, so I'll just start. So 2 days ago, I got this dream, and it was like a kind of like a semi lucid dream, um and what's important about it was just like I don't remember if they were talking to like me, like the first person perspective, or just like this female figure. But this monk, this like Zen monk, was like talking to a female figure or something, and he basically just said like, like I'm sorry if this sounds condescending, but this is just what they said in the dream, I also felt like
Yeah,
this
don't
guy would
worry
kind
about
of, yeah, but yeah, so they were just saying like, this is the, uh, this is the easiest step in the whole awakening enlightenment process. Like this first step, freaking no self, he was kind of just telling me to like, I think the message was just like, just do it. Like you're like, I think he's just telling me like, you're doing the shadow work and you're kind of thinking this stream entry is really difficult or whatever, but you don't realize this is like he's just telling me like this is like pretty easy. Like it's easier than I think, than like my mind makes it out to be, I think. So I think he's just motivating me to like get back to self inquiry, I guess. But so yeah, so that happened, and then after that, like I just like watched this movie. There was this amazing music, and there was this Asian girl with her cousin, and they were kind of just like, and her cousin was like kind of a monk person too, so they were kind of just traveling, and her cousin kind of hugged her. It was like a very like slow scene of her just like him hugging her. He was like, she was riding like a horse with like a slight smile, and then he kind of fed her like some soup. It was all like very simple stuff. It was like the background was like a lot of greenery, and event and later on like they met like his master and his wife. But it was just like the whole vibe was just like so loving, and it was like so much love or something like in the, anyway. I was just like, I was watching this movie. I was thinking that I was watching a movie, and I was like, wow, is this Earth? I just asked in the dream like, is this Earth? And then the dream ended, and then I woke up and I was like, wow, that's a dream. That wasn't a movie. And I was like, what? And I was like, wow, that's the message. Like, I think the message for me is like, I just need to like have like more love and just enjoy life and let life happen, and just tune into like that. I don't know, like that, like
yeah,
that slow, yeah, that slow, deep.
yes, definitely slow down, relax into it. No, that's slow. You're frozen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But anyway, so how that relates is just like, yeah, that's the reason why I'm doing more self inquiry right now, just because that, God
it's
is telling me, yeah.
the message was slow down. The message was relax. You're running at 1,000 miles an hour. Just slow down. You don't have to chase anything. It's all there for you. Just relax. And I think
Oh, thank you.
you're right about
Thank
love.
you.
You know, I think that's the foundation of everything. As soon as we get all of this conditioning, all this, what we're left with is just a foundation of love. And you can just sink into that and relax and enjoy it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of silly to ask the question now, but I think I still want to ask it. But it's just like,做啥啦？我一直在跟你讲闲话呀。OK，晚安，晚安。OK。But anyway, like I'm just I think a deep, deep, deep fear I have is like loneliness. I'm scared of like,
Sure.
yeah, I'm scared of just like, yeah,
We all have that
like what,
fear,
yeah.
some level, I think, you know. For some we know about it and others we don't, and so on. But it's a basis too, isn't it? And when you've got love, that's not an issue.
Yeah, it's really not. Yeah, yeah, that's true. But like when I'm trying to like dissolve this self right now, it's just kind of scary because
Hey, but listen, here's a really
yeah.
important. You haven't got a self to dissolve. You don't have to dissolve anything. You just have to recognize what actually is already the case. And that is that there's no one running the show. It all just happens. You mentioned cause and effect earlier. That's an interesting one. Cause and effect is a really simplistic notion. To think that one or two things can cause something else to happen. Simplistic. Right? The reality is that it takes an infinite number of things, a million things, for anything to happen. And all of those things are already done. And they had to be exactly the way they were for any happening to be the way it is. So it's not something we have control of. It is the way it is, the way it is.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Yes, good. Hmm.
Sorry, did I ask like too? Did I ask for too long? Kind of like.
I missed that. What did you say about too long?
Sorry, did I ask too many questions?
No,
I like.
no. Don't worry about how long you talk or how much you talk. The whole point is
Okay,
to be spontaneous and authentic.
okay, okay. Can I share one last thing, please? Because like, oh my god, this is really amazing.
That
But
was an invitation. Yes, go on.
but yeah, this is really amazing. Like, this is really amazing. But so I was really enjoying my time with my mom. Like, I was making jokes of her. I was making jokes saying she was cheating on my dad because my dad is in China right now, and I just kept making jokes. And she's like, she's not a funny person, so she's really serious. I'm just laughing. It's just funny right now because it's like it's kind of obvious that like she's a character right now, and and I'm more of like an aware character right now. But it's just like because she's like, but the dynamic is just really funny. But and then I kind of realized that like she's gonna die, and that made me really sad. And then I started. So then I went to talk to like my new plant, or like for some reason like I felt the urge to like go and talk to my gardenia, and then and literally it was like amazing because like um it was just like wow, it was just really like it was just like insane because like literally like the moment I make the intention in my head to like not think about this and just be in the moment and just stare at this plant, or like not even just like just be in the moment, like I literally just noticed like there was like a blossom that was gonna bloom on one branch. Like I thought that branch was sinking down because it was gonna die, but actually it's because there's like a bloom there. And then like 3 minutes afterwards, I like got into that no thought state again, and then I noticed like and then I was looking at the plant, and I was like, wow, there's like 13 something blooms, like not like blooms, but like, buds on this plant. And then and also the last thing is like when I was talking to this plant, um, there was like, and I finished talking. I looked down and I realized like one branch is kind of just like reaching out to me, kind of like being like my microphone, and it was kind of like taking my carbon dioxide, like really taking like my energy or something, or like just yeah, like actually like listening to me. And that was just the orientation of the plant, and yeah, like, and just now, like I was just when I was talking, um, I could just like smell the perfume of like the gardenia, like, and usually and I know like it's not random, like I know like when I smell it, it's planned. So yeah, like
Mm,
I just think it's really life is really cool right now. So yeah,
right. Absolutely. Yeah. When you get into that no thought state, the magic appears. Hey, it's just beautiful. Mm.
yeah, 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 and I don't think I'm gonna share all of this stuff in the future because it's probably just gonna keep happening, and at some point, like I'm probably gonna want to like keep it to myself or cherish it or something. I don't know, like, but yeah, I guess
Who
just
knows?
whatever comes
Who
up. But
knows? Yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah,
future will take care of itself, won't it?
yeah. Right. I think that's it for me. Um, so yeah,
Thank you.
for now, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you. Hmm.
Nice. Now I want to go and talk to my plant.
Yes. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. I chopped the tops off some bamboos this morning that were growing too tall, and now I feel like I want to go out and apologise to it. Yeah.
Earlier, when Anda was talking, one thing stuck. Uh, she was saying about how she thought she has to catch the string and do something with it, and then it came to me, oh, this is why I don't like when Vince is saying about uh, saying treat it as opportunity, because for me opportunity is something that you have to catch, you have to use it. You know,
Yeah.
there is opportunity and it will go if you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
catch
That,
it.
that's a social thing, isn't it? We mustn't waste an opportunity. Yeah. But of course, there's nothing wrong with not using an opportunity when it turns up. We do or we don't. It's not something we have control over, is it?
Yeah,
If we think I must make use of every opportunity, then it's not really an opportunity. We're making a job for ourselves. But yes, it is a cultural thing, I think. So if it's also for you in Poland, it's here for us that yeah, we would be seen as a spendthrift if we wasted an opportunity. Ah, so you're right. There is a compulsion to do something with it in society.
Yeah, there's this in this slogan treated as opportunity. It's like
Yes. So maybe
look
that's.
for look for opportunity in whatever happens,
Mm.
because you can miss it. But and there was some resistance in me when I heard
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
this word, and I didn't know
Now
what
you
is
do.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, because I didn't think of it like that either. So maybe I have to not use that word anymore. Maybe I'll say possibility, and then there's no compulsion to do it.
You know, there are always some associations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, even a
What can
possibility
you
has
do?
some compulsion about it, doesn't it? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, this is why words get in the road all the time. It's impossible to talk in a way that doesn't come across as things to do, jobs to be done, things to be avoided, all of those things, and none of them are right. But there's no other way to talk except with those things, eh? Even say, if this happens, it's better than if that happens, when we know there's no better or worse, right or wrong, good or bad. But there is pleasant and unpleasant, because that describes our experience, doesn't it? It's not a concept. But even to say pleasant and unpleasant implies that pleasant is good and unpleasant is bad. We're trapped no matter what we say, no matter what words we use. It can't be right.
And then when you were talking about connection, about this human connection, and I wonder, maybe not now, but there may be an artificial intelligence, but that can be programmed with the task: make a human that talks to you feel a deep connection with
Yes,
you.
I fully believe that, for sure. Yeah. Which just takes us down to a slightly deeper level. When we talk about artificial intelligence as it is inhuman, even though the chatbots are designed to behave with their words in a human fashion. They still have an artificiality about them that's obvious. But for a long time, I've believed that we will be able to make a connection with robots. I mean, in Japan, they have these robotic pets, dogs that are robots, and I would say for sure that many people have a connection with them. So it might be a little bit harder to make that same connection with uh, a pretend human, but I'll bet you they can, for sure.
Well, I think I believe now you can have a deep connection with gardenia.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
And I also know sometime in the past I talked about my father, how sometimes I feel like um, I don't have a connection with him, but he thinks we have a connection. And it's a bit like talking with an old man with Alzheimer who I just met on the street, but he thinks I'm his daughter, and it's so important for
Mm.
him, and he has this deep connection, and I don't want to shatter it because
Yes,
what
yes.
for?
So that's interesting because people
And
don't think of a connection. They think of a connection as having to be two ways, and it doesn't.
and and sometimes I wonder if my connections are just like that. It's just but it's like two Alzheimer's meeting,
Yeah.
and he thinks she's his daughter, and she thinks he is her father, but they are not related at all.
Mm. Yep,
It's imagined, but it's real.
sure. And the other thing about connection is that people often presume that if there is a connection, that it has some permanence, when the reality is that we can have connection one moment and not the next. I have plants downstairs that I had connection with that I have neglected and they've died and I have no longer a connection with them. But when I pull them out to reuse the pot, I'll have a temporary connection and a little sadness for a moment with the fact that they've died. So connection is dynamic. Again, it changes all the time. It can be there and then not be there. It can be one way or two ways. It's perception again, isn't it? So your father perceives a connection with you and he doesn't. You could change that with him. If you said, I have no connection with you, then he might lose some of his connection with you. So you don't want to shatter that. You don't want to undo that for him, which is in fact a connection. The fact that you respect or value his connection with you, even though you don't reciprocate it, you don't feel like you reciprocate it, but you still care for how he feels. So that's a kind of a connection.
Yeah, it's just not
Just not
this
the same
kind
as his connection with
of
you. Yes.
connection that he imagines.
Yes. Yeah. So if we look at connection surgically, we might say that it has to do with validation. Maybe a lot more than that. It seems like an expression of love, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a much more mechanical thing, where we have a connection with those people who approve of us. We tend to not have a connection with those who disapprove of us, do we? So it's interesting, that one. We could surgically dissect it to the point where there's nothing left.
Mm.
Mm.
I don't know. I think if I care about someone's disapproval, it's already a connection.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
And yeah, it's also how Vicky was talking about Angelo, the essence being
Mm.
uh yeah, it's like your plants died and you no longer have connection, but my grandmother died and I feel she's
Still have
always
connection.
here.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
she's just a part of me, for
Yes.
good and or bad.
Yes. Yes. So when we think of somebody, and I immediately think of a friend of mine who died a long time ago, but I think of that friend, and that thought, the emotion that goes along with that thought, is a connection for sure. Yeah. We could reduce it to a reaction, but it's a bit too mechanistic, isn't it? Because it is an emotion.
Well, for me, everything is mechanistic.
Yes, you say that, but you feel a bit emotional about that, don't you?
About everything being mechanistic.
Yes, about you being mechanistic, you having that attitude.
That also is mechanistic. The reaction to that thought.
Yeah. Okay. So we could see emotions as being a mechanistic response to things as well, for sure. Yeah, I get that. And that's I like that. You know, there's something about that that objectifies it, and that puts us in a much better position to relate to it. That it happens because it happens. There's almost an inevitability about it. It's happening. That the mechanistic viewpoint points to, highlights. Because in a way, everything that we're talking about is mechanistic. You know, we have things we respond to, you know, and it's inevitable that we'll respond to something until it changes. But there it is. That's a pretty mechanistic view of it. And I guess if there's suffering, whatever we call that, whatever we mean by that, then we look to change certain things so that that doesn't happen, or it happens differently. And that's just like changing gears or turning in a different direction. Something quite mechanistic about that as well.
Huh. I've noticed that I come to this meeting because listening and talking enlivens me, and so and it is pleasant.
Good.
And that is also a mechanism.
The complexity of that mechanism is interesting, isn't it? It's too complex to be able to. If we took that one apart, that machine, we could never put it back together properly. So it's very complex, that one, but yeah, but it's still, it's cogs and gears and levers and switches and so on as well. Yep.
I was wondering about this basic mechanism, like you say that the basis is love, kindness. Yeah, yeah. I had a lot of discussions in my Buddhist Sangha about what is metta, loving kindness, and and from the beginning, I thought it's not really not a feeling, not an emotion, but it's something so basic, like doing a breakfast for myself. Yeah, when I'm doing my breakfast for myself, I'm not sending warm feelings with it or something like that. I'm just doing the breakfast because I'm hungry, and it's so obvious. It's like something itches and I scratch myself and I don't even notice it.
So I'm thinking maybe love is more like the grease or the oil that allows things to run smoothly, instead of, you know, that it's it's not so much the gears and the cogs, but rather the grease that allows them to interact smoothly. So, you know, even though it might seem to you like you're mechanically making breakfast, it's still making breakfast with what you enjoy, not what you don't like. You're still making something that you approve of, I presume.
I guess without thinking.
Yes, yes.
There is this like one point where I don't know, I had this thought and it kind of clicked a little bit for me, and then the feeling went away. But I think like, sorry, but I think people say like love is the glue that holds everything together, like the universe together. And I think that's probably true because like maybe in a most like basic like physical way, like you know how people say like when you like Adi Ashanti said like when you start your awakening, it's like you're being pulled to something, and then you're being pulled faster and faster, and then you can't control it and stuff. So I feel like maybe gravitational force and stuff like that is like love or something. But but yeah, I know just that's like a theory I have right now. But maybe I shouldn't be making theories anymore. But yeah, so
Uh, no,
that's
it's
what
not a
it is.
matter of not making them. It's just a matter of recognizing them for what they are. They're theories, you know. And you can have a good feeling from certain theories, and that's fine. You know, you recognize that it's a theory, and you have a good feeling from it. It's not a case of not doing it. When you said it's the glue, I've heard that saying before. It's the glue that holds everything together. I don't quite like that. I much prefer to see it as the oil that makes things run smoothly than the glue that holds it together. But it's just a theory again. It's just my story. That's all. What's so funny, Bianca?
I don't know if there's much difference between oil and glue. You know, oil it's pretty sticky.
Yeah, but it allows things to run smoothly, whereas glue stops things from moving. It's just the way I see it, I guess. Yeah. But I get that the saying, you know, it's what things tend to run on or something. And it's all just metaphorical. But it feels great. I love the feeling of it.
They the there's where my mechanistic view is more neutral on it. I'm not so sure if love is a good thing.
Can you see a negative side to it?
Oh, the defense mechanism. Love is a defense mechanism, a protection mechanism. And I can see how every mechanism defensive mechanism has this love at its basis.
Yeah, I can go along with that.
Even
Is
with
that a good
self.
thing?
Hmm?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, with a mechanistic point of view, it's just a thing. It's not good or bad. It's just a thing. There are no good or bad in that view. It just is the way it is.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the view is, but okay. Anyway, keep going.
Well, it's like, I think in solipsis, it is like whole game is a whole world is a video game. I am the player, and you are just rendering. You, Vince, and you, Vicky, you are just rendering for me for this moment. I don't know if I get it right. This is solipsis.
I've just looked it up and it says solipsism is the philosophical idea that one's own mind is sure to exist. Everything else, including other people, the world, and even reality itself, could just be a creation of your own consciousness. But there are different forms of solipsism. So there's metaphysical, epistemological, and methodological solipsism. So anyway, yes, I get that. It's just your own, the only thing that exists is your own mind, and everything else is a result of that. Well, that's kind of true, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's like I am the player and you are NPCs who are just created for me to see.
Yeah.
And in mechanistic view, it was like seeing that I am the NPC too.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I have no idea who is the player.
Ah, yeah. Well, some people will say God is the player. That's kind of an anti-solipsist view, I guess, isn't it? Mm. But seriously, we don't know if there is a player. We're all just the NPCs, everybody. Is there a player? Are we being played? Who knows? We don't know. Does an NPC know that there's a player? I don't think so. So the idea of a first person game makes the person behind the gun the player. But really, they're just an NPC as well. Because they keep getting killed and they come back to life, and they keep getting killed and they come back to life. Anyway, I think it's time for me to go and cook tea. So thank you.
Okay.
See you
All right,
later.
thank you guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.